Hey everyone. What has happened here? Have they got issues with data again? What's going on? Here we go. Here we go. Oh my goodness. They're really having issues here this weekend, I feel like. I feel like they're really having issues when it comes to the overall data and stuff this weekend. Welcome everyone, hope you're good. How are you all? How was your Saturday? How is it treating you? For some of you, it's already Sunday. I'm very well, thank you guys. Welcome, welcome. It's been a lovely Saturday thus far, personally. Went out, did some shopping. Spent some money on myself. Some well-needed spruce up of the wardrobe as we're heading into the colder months now. And yeah, spent a lot of money on little one as well. So as is needed now, of course. So yeah, no, it's been a productive Saturday. Evening, and good to see you as always. Welcome everyone. Hope you're well, Vampire, all the way from Bhutan. Lovely. Norway's getting cold, I imagine. Yeah, I mean, we were 10 degrees today. I think we were 11 degrees. So in the grand scheme of things, not cold, but a lot colder than it has been. It's been sitting around, what, 17, 18 for quite a while now here in the UK, which is nice. But it's also kind of a bit of an awkward time because it's like that wind chill's starting to pick up and it's like, do I wear shorts? Do I wear a t-shirt? But then it's also too warm when you get on the move and you're starting to walk and you're sweating in your jacket and it's just, it's awkward. So I quite like it being around this temperature, to be honest with you. She's doing very well, thank you, Matthew. Yes, she is just been fed, just had dinner. Pasta and tuna pasta for dinner. So, yeah, absolutely loving it. Clocks go back tonight, so we're trying to make her stay up a little bit longer so that she's not down on sleep and actually we're able to make benefit of that additional extra hour that you're supposed to gain. So that's our plan. So we'll see if she can. We'll see if she can stay up for an extra while longer. Hey Pat, good to see you again, Scotsman. Welcome. Yes, not long until FP1 gets underway, guys. I haven't got a countdown timer on, but 10 minutes time. The half-hour mark, wherever you are in the world, regardless of time zones, the half-hour mark is when the FP3 session will get underway. And, well, I guess the big thing to keep an eye on here for this FP3 session is Oscar Piastri's progress, because evidently struggling a bit yesterday, especially in relation to his championship rivals, Lando Norris and Max Verstappen. So we'll avidly keep an eye on him. It's not so much even the single lap pace that is something that is of concern to Piastri or to his fans, but it is the long runs. It was the consistency of the long runs that he did yesterday were quite slow in comparison. So fingers crossed the telemetry works today. Yeah, I think it will do. Hopefully it does. They sorted it out yesterday, so I imagine they've rectified. Well, they definitely rectified the issue in FP2 or for FP2, and yeah, I reckon they'll be fully on it in knowing if it does rear its ugly head again, they know what to fix. Your clock will be going back to where it came from, as it will be wrong for the next 6 months. Checking in from Indianapolis, Robert. Lovely, nice little afternoon session for you. But yeah, very, very excited for this weekend. I'm not normally excited for the Mexico Grand Prix. If any of you caught my preview video, it's always a bit of a damp squib of a race, to be honest. And I don't expect too much tomorrow either. I have very low expectations still for this race tomorrow. However, it's going to be interesting because every point matters now to the end of the season with how close it is at the top. So Brazil up next. I know. Do I think Max's engine will last 9 races? That's a good question. I think so. I mean, the thing is, it's all well and good them saying, oh, slap a new engine in there, but do they even have a new engine available? Have they even created one? Have they put the resource aside to create a new engine, especially with 2026 around the corner? And that's the thing for McLaren and Red Bull at the moment. I don't have the answer to that right now. But Max was the last driver out of those top 3 to put a new engine in the car. And McLaren have been using their engines for quite some time, I believe. I can't remember when they last used another engine. It's 4 engines a year. It's 3, I think. I don't think it's 4. I think the gearboxes were up to 4. The engines were still 3. I could be wrong there. Someone will fact check me. But I think there was discussion at the start of the season about there being 3. But I think the engines were kept at 3 and the gearboxes were up to 4. Someone fact check me on that. I could be wrong. Hey, McKelly. I'm expecting a reasonable result for the Ferrari in quali, at least one on the front row. Ooh, the car looks planted. I mean, I must admit, I think I may have done Ferrari a little bit disservice from what we saw in FP1 yesterday. However, we have seen, and we're a long way into this season now, it's round 20, we have seen Ferrari do well on countless Fridays, and then come Saturday, we all are sitting here questioning where that pace has gone. So the teams are still 1.3 seconds off of the fastest lap time of last year. We know these cars are considerably quicker than last season. So there is still a lot of improvement to be made by these teams from yesterday to today. And of course, track evolution plays a key part to that as well. When you go out there and do a push lap, that can massively factor where you are out on track. So you may have executed a very, very good lap time, but you did it earlier on in the session than in the back half of the session or the back end of the session. And that's why maybe you're a good few places lower down than you would be. So, yeah. That's 1 for 6 or 8 races, right? So in any case, Max is effed. Little one agrees. I don't know. I mean, I guess the thing is that Red Bull haven't had any engine issues all year, I don't believe. So... Dan, so for the 2025 season, each driver is allowed 4 internal combustion engines. Okay, turbochargers, MGUK and MGUH units per season. They're also limited to 2 energy stores and Con Electric. Okay, so it is 4. Okay, it is 4. So there we go. So how many... Maybe someone can do the research on, if you can for me. I'm asking you guys to be my researchers right now. How many... There's got to be somewhere out there that has tracked how many engines each team has used. I think McLaren have used all of their engines, right? I think everyone's used all of their engines. I'd be very surprised if anyone still has 1 engine free between now and the end of the season. But if someone could maybe dig out that information, that would be very intriguing to find out. You swear you heard Max complain about downshifts. Yeah, he's complained about that before in the past. He also wasn't happy with the car yesterday. The car, he said, was sliding around quite a lot, and he actually didn't sound too positive yesterday. Even though he topped the timing screens, he was like, the long runs didn't look great. That was really his assessment. And, of course, they know, Red Bull know as well, that the strength of the McLaren has been their tyre management, in particularly managing those temperatures. So... they know if they can't get on top of that and they're going to have that car sliding around a bit, it may be good over a single lap, but when it comes to, it's kind of like the Red Bull of old. Good over a single lap, Max can get pole position, but when it comes to a whole race distance, that car is just not suitable for managing a set of tyres. So we'll see. Red Bull grid announcements delayed. Will Yuki still have a chance to stay? I don't know. I personally don't think so. I think the only way that Yuki stays is if... I think the only way Yuki stays is if they get more money. I just think that they want Arvid Lindblad in F1 sooner rather than later. And they'd rather... I think Isaac Hadjar, I still think going into the Red Bull seat next season is a good time to go alongside Max because it's a new regulation set and you've got like the best opportunity to get on a level playing field with Max rather than halfway through a regulation set or towards the end of it. So, I don't know. The only way they'll keep Yuki is if they want Lindblad to be in F2 for another season and they want to continue to develop Hadjar and Lawson. And they're like, it's easier. It makes sense to keep that Red Bull seat warm in Yuki's hands for now until we decide on who we want out of Lawson or Hadjar to go up into the top seat. So, and then maybe bring Lindblad through. Maybe they're signing Alex Dunn as well. There's so many different things. I personally don't think we're going to get an announcement until the end of the season. when it comes to Red Bull. I just think it will be quite late in the season. You saw a very recent interview with Max and he seemed very positive. Different interview, maybe a different interview than I saw then. Maybe he's given mixed messaging. Did Max get a new floor? Has he got a new floor? I don't think he's... I mean, maybe he has got a new floor. When is practice starting? In under 5 minutes. In a few minutes' time. Max also has 8 exhausts already. Others are on 6 or 7. That's interesting. Luke to Alpine, they tried to hire him from last year. Luke who? Luke Browning? I don't know about Alpine, to be honest with you. I think their lineup for next season is going to be Colapinto and Gasly. And I think Colapinto brings the money. He brings considerable amount of money with him as well. And I think that's a big factor for Alpine right now. So... he's had a new floor since Monza, yeah. So, I mean, that's not exactly a new floor, though, is it? Like, it's quite some time ago, but he had that floor. That was 4 race weekends ago, so. Who's my favourite driver? It is Lewis Hamilton, yeah. I've said this on stream a number of times. Lewis is the only driver that I'm an active fan of. I've watched him since he came into the sports. Of course, I was a lot younger when he first came into the sports, but... There are drivers up and down the grid that obviously I like more than others. But yeah, he's the only driver I'd say the reason why I'm a fan of him as well is he's the only driver I actively keep an eye on where he is on the grid and how his progress is. But it doesn't mean he's above criticism. So if he does poorly and he's at fault for something, you'll definitely hear me call him out. So unlike some online who will not call out their favourite team or their favourite driver. So... McLaren have used 4 + 4 = 8. Okay, so McLaren are at the limit of their engine allocation then. So if they were to take a new engine, it would be a grid place penalty. And a few of you have asked me this: where would it be best to take it? Would it be best to take it here this weekend or later on in the season? I think with one sprint race weekend remaining in Brazil, I think it just makes sense to use it in Brazil if you're going to take a 10-place grid penalty for a new engine unit. We saw how Lewis Hamilton massively benefited from that back in 2021. It does make a difference, especially when there's such a difference in the usage and the grading of engines at that stage of the season. It can be the difference between, like, yeah, in the short term, at the sprint race, you might lose a few points to your championship rivals. But if you've got that extra horsepower when it comes to the race for qualifying on the Saturday, because you can take the penalty for the sprint race, you can benefit from that spicy engine when it comes to the race in Brazil, of course, Vegas, Qatar, and then Abu Dhabi. And it's going to be so helpful for you. So I think if you are one of those drivers, if you are even McLaren driver, I think you're sitting there looking, I want a new engine. I have had those conversations already about taking a new engine for Brazil. That's my thinking behind it. But whether they have that engine available it's a very unique season. Normally teams would have another engine ready right now, but I mean, as a potential, I mean, I guess they already do have a brand new engine as a backup, I guess, but they have the old engines also if something happens. But we'll see. Hey, Champ, welcome, buddy. Welcome, everyone. Imagine everyone uses a new engine and gets a penalty in Brazil. Yeah, that'd be funny. I'll tell you what, Ferrari started getting better right when exams started. It kind of feels like they're praying for my academic downfalling. Hopefully not. So green light, pit exit is open. No one is out on track at the moment. Too early in this session. And it might be a while till we see drivers out on track because they only have a limited amount of tyres to use here this weekend. We discussed this yesterday. It is looking like it's going to be a medium to soft strategy. Whether that will be a 1 or 2 stop, we will see. Depends on track temperatures that we see here this weekend. But yeah, the hard compound tyre is a tyre that isn't really going to be in use here this weekend. We're only going to see it in practice as a tyre where it's only going to be seen in practice as a tyre to just kind of set some lap times in and just get a feel of things. But the hard tyre is 2 steps harder than the medium. They've skipped a compound, so you can see Alonso there on a set of hards. And they're using it because they want to save the mediums and the softs, because they want to make sure they've got enough brand new softs for qualifying. We know how important track position is here. not just here, but in the F1 in general this season. And then, of course, you want to make sure you've got enough mediums as well for a race tyre on Sunday. So, yeah, practice is difficult here this weekend in relation to the tyre allocations. I'm drinking Monster, yeah. Not sponsored. Not sponsored, by the way. Not for the want to try. If Norris finishes second behind Max in remaining races, then Norris will win. I believe he will. I think the maths does back that up, yeah, if memory serves me correctly. Can I move the race info down a little bit? What, this? Up here? No, because that is the top of it. And the reason I have it up here is because it's... I mean, all this... So, the reason I have it up here is because I don't want the tab... That's messy. And all this information isn't really necessary. It's not going to rain here this weekend. So it's up there. Ideally, I'd like to move it over. I normally have it at the top of the screen here, but the race control messages, I think if that's what you're talking about. Unfortunately, because of the way that the track layout is, I can't alter this track layout or change the orientation. It has to stay there. So, apologies. The hards seen any decent usage or just massively off the pace this weekend? They're just massively off the pace this weekend, Liam. Yeah, they're massively off the pace. So you may see them used today, but I imagine it's just wasted time and effort to be on the hards, to be honest with you. And it's not a tyre that's going to be used here this weekend. We've hardly seen it used in practice as well. And yeah, we're going to see the mediums. I think that's why the only time we saw the hards was in FP1 on the majority of the rookies, because the rookies, they don't want the drivers who are actually driving, of course, here this weekend, to have the medium or the soft compound tyre, a tyre that they're going to use in quali or the race, just unnecessarily used up from someone who's not going to benefit from it, benefit from that data. So that's why the majority of the... I mean, we saw some soft runs for the rookies, but that's why the majority of them were on hards. So no need for the pink dots yet, Xavier. I totally get it. But the DRS detection zones aren't required in practice or qualifying because DRS is open for use whenever you want. So the only relevant information right now that you need to know is, of course, where in relation to DRS is where the zones are. They'll be switched back on for the race. Don't you worry. That's for sure. Piastri will win the championship, but he's taken the hard and long way. Well, I said this yesterday, but I can't tell you who's going to win this championship. I don't think anyone can. But I still think Piastri's favourite. He's the leader. He is 14 points in the lead. He just needs one decent result to settle himself. He just needs, personally, I don't even think he needs to beat Max right now. He just needs one decent result against his teammate. He's the one who's closest in the championship to him. He's the one who, I think at the moment, he has the access to the data of his teammate. He doesn't have the access to the data of Max Verstappen. And realistically, Norris is his championship rival at the moment. He still is. He's 14 points behind him. And he has the data to his teammate as well. They clearly use that to their advantage. And he has seen probably the data that he has been off the pace of his teammate. That's got to take a knock to your confidence. Not Max Verstappen, but knowing the information that you can see and you're trying to utilise that information to your advantage and you can't, must be quite painful for him. And I think what he needs one decent race where he just finishes on pace and merit ahead of Norris, and I think that will settle him. I think it will. Sport's a fickle thing. Anyone who's done sport, confidence can... sometimes you just need one decent result. And, yeah, especially against the person that it matters, who you're competing against. And that will settle you. And I think that's what will happen with Piastri. So... what if Alonso wins in Mexico? If Alonso wins in Mexico, I will wear an Aston Martin shirt for Interlagos. I will buy an Aston Martin shirt and I'll wear it for Interlagos. That's the thing. That's the kind of the craziest thing that I could think of. So, which Discord chat of mine is best for chatting F1? Real life racing, Dan. Real life racing. We have a lot of sim racing chat in there as well, because that's where obviously one of my passions is. And we have a strong iRacing F1 community in there. But yeah, real life racing. You haven't missed much. I see FP1 started 7 minutes ago. So nothing to note as of yet. Max Verstappen out there on a set of mediums. We'll keep an eye out on their lap times here and see how they fare. I do have the lap chart up in relation to obviously the long runs. I imagine that's probably what Max is going to be doing right now. Or maybe testing maybe some setup changes that they've made, but we'll get some push. We'll get some push laps. Maybe we'll get some push laps. We might not even get some push laps because of wanting maybe to keep a brand new set of tyres available. We may get push laps on used softs. I imagine we'll get some form of push laps, but this might be not necessarily a representative session. We may still go into qualifying, not really knowing what the order is of who's quickest. So. Has to be a Stroll number. Okay, hang on, if Fernando Alonso wins, I have to get a Stroll top. Shouldn't it be in a Fernando Alonso top? Or is that like the punishment? The punishment is that if Fernando Alonso wins, I have to get a Stroll piece of merch. Or an Aston Martin Stroll merch. Is that it? So. Think I could get an Aston Martin shirt for free? No, I will pay for it out of my own money. It will come from my own bank account. I feel he needs a good quality in relation to Piastri, because more often than not, this season has been about clean air. Yeah, 100. I mean, we've seen qualifying be so important this season, and we've seen how important. George Russell said it not too last weekend. He goes, "This season has a lot of it has been a race to turn one," and I'm sure there is a statistic out there that I would say probably in the majority of races, if you've led into turn one, you've won the race. You may have lost P1 a couple of times in a few races, but then regained it. But yeah, it is clean air is so important because we're in the last year of these regs. It's it's important. It is like that. So Max actually did a push lap on a set of mediums, by the way, and then he did a cool down lap. That's interesting. Was the data visible in FP2? It was, yes. So the teams, so it wasn't just us at home who didn't have access to data. The team's trackside didn't have any data or GPS data. They only had timing data. So they had no idea where drivers were out on track. So it was a trackside issue that they did rectify for FP2. So. What time is quali? Quali is at 10 PM UK time. So that will be, whatever your time zone is, that will be basically just under just under 3.5 hours time, pretty much. So, Lean, you're watching the TV coverage, and I have to say it's kind of boring. I think watching your streams is better. The benefit of live streams like this is that we're able to have a back and forth, whereas the commentators have... their conversation is between each other. So they only have obviously the questions from each other that they can ask. So it's a very, very different, circumstance they're in. Oh, big lockup from Lewis Hamilton into turn one. Big lockup. So yeah, it's very, for us, that's the benefit. That's what I enjoy so much about doing these live streams, is that we have back and forths. You're able to ask me questions. I may not know the answer to all of them, but there's some of you in here who are just as knowledgeable, if not more knowledgeable than me. And that's the beauty of it. We've built a community here. While, of course, obviously I'm the face of the community. I'm the one here at the front. We're all part of it at the end of the day. And we're all here enjoying F1. And yeah, I appreciate everyone who tunes in. And no matter how you consume this content, whether it be alongside the live TV coverage, whether you're just watching the track map and the live stream in itself on its own, in the car, whatever, just listening to my voice, I appreciate it regardless. So yeah, big thank you, everyone. Hey, Dahik, you got you got what you wanted. How's my day? Yeah, it's going very well, thank you. Little one is very good. Mummy's just changed her for bed. She's in some new pyjamas, in some new PJs. So, she's looking very fetching. What the hell was Stroll doing? He used 4 new tyres in 44 laps. So, what they like to do, Aston Martin, if you're new to how Aston Martin go about their practice sessions with tyres, what they like to do is that they like to go out and just do a slow outlap on them, and then they come back into the pits. So they scrub off the new shine of the tyre. The premise behind that, whether it actually works or not, I don't know, but the premise of that by Aston Martin, and they've been doing it for a few seasons now, is that it allows them to get the heat into the temperature into the tyres quicker. So they're able to heat them up quicker and get them up to the peak operating window, which benefits at the start of the race and on an outlap. That's their logic. Whether it actually works or not, I don't know. But yeah, that's why they go out and they use so many, what seems like they use so many new tyres. Yeah. Where are the DRS detection points, specifically the third zone? Don't really need to know that. Don't need to know the detection points right now, but the detection points are... So detection point for DRS Zone 3 is right where Ocon's going now, just before turn 10. And then down into out of the last corner, into the stadium section is where the DRS zone is, DRS detection point is for turn, the start-finish straight. Do Aston Martin call in going for a stroll? Yeah. Is there going to be a dominant 1-2 here this weekend? I don't know. I really don't know. Oscar Piastri is still not even out of the pits. Neither is Lando Norris as well. So, yeah, lots of drivers holding on to those tyres at the moment. So Max Verstappen has improved. So interesting there. Max did a push lap initially, a 118.9, and then he did 2 cool-down laps on that set of mediums, and then did a 118.0. Carlos Sainz fastest there of a 118.0. Pole position last year was a 1... What was pole position last year, guys? Was it a 116? Was I right in that? But it's a 116. Am I correct there? So... let's have a check. A 115. Was it a 115? 115.994. Yeah, that's what I thought it was. So 116. So we're still 2 seconds off of pole position of last year, aren't we? So that's quite a considerable difference at the moment. Like the cars can go so much, they can go a lot quicker. So that just shows kind of the engine modes that they're running, how like the fuel loads potentially they're running as well. So looking at Mexico, I'm looking at FP3's result of last year. So the fastest time we saw in FP3 last year was actually by Oscar Piastri, a 116.5. Just under a 116.5. So, yeah, we're quite some way off of that. And then pole position was a 115.946. So, yeah. By Carlos Sainz. What Carlos Sainz last year? Will we see something of the like again? Of course, it is very... Track evolution is a big factor here. So the later you go, it's riskier, of course, to go out late, but you'll benefit from potentially a quicker track. Why are you unable to chat on the laptop with the same... don't know, Eddie. Not entirely sure. RB are putting more effort into this car, just like 2021, but I don't think their next year is going to go like 22 because there is no Adrian Newey. So what do I think of it in the 2026 RB car? 2026 is such an unknown, but yeah, it does seem like that they're still investing into resource for this season. But I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, people had the same premise when it came to 2022. People were saying because they're continuing their development late into 2021 for that season, and they're not really going to hit the ground running when it comes to the new regs in 22. How wrong they were, because they were absolutely dominant. But yeah, Adrian Newey leaving. It's a very different Red Bull team now. Christian Horner's gone, Jonathan Wheatley's gone, Adrian Newey's gone. A number of key individuals have left Red Bulls. It's a very, very different team now. So yeah, we'll see if they can hit the ground running in 26. Only time will tell. But yeah, they definitely have made improvements in that car, and if they continue to bring performance updates, then they could even close that gap on. They could close the gap even more on McLaren. So, and even be quicker than them. So. Be really cool if Carlos won again, first Williams win in years. Yeah, I mean, look, there'd have to be something really, really dramatic for him to happen further up ahead. But at the moment, Sainz, top of the timing screens, 118.0. On softs, Verstappen, a 118.0 as well, only 200ths of a second behind. Tsunoda, 4.5 tenths behind Verstappen. Lawson up there in P4. Leclerc 5th. Hamilton 6th. Bortoletto 7th, Behrman 8th, Hulkenberg 9th. So Norris is now out there, guys. Norris is now out there, as is Oscar Piastri. So let's keep an eye out on them and see how they fare on a brand new set of mediums as well. You're surprised that we haven't seen Perez on track. I thought that Cadillac would promote their team at Mexico Grand Prix. I think he might be there tomorrow, Mark. He did do an interview. With Karun Chandhok. Of Sky TV. So he is there, and I think it was held. It was either held in the US or held here in America, in Mexico. It might have been held in the US, but I thought he'd be here as well. Maybe he's only here. Maybe he's only there later on today, or he's there tomorrow. So, but I'm surprised he wouldn't be there as well. Do I think reliability will play a factor tomorrow? It will do to some extent. Yes, there will be some management. We have always seen that here at Mexico. You can't run this race at 100%. You have to do some sort of lift and coast. You see drivers pulling out of the slipstream down the start-finish straight to try and find some clean air because the engines get very hot here. So some things happened with Lewis there. He went purple in the first sector, but he's bowed out of the second sector. Is that just because he caught traffic? Yeah, he caught traffic. He caught Norris. Or did he overshoot? Hang on. Lando Norris going very slowly, by the way. Is he coming back into the pits? Or was he just cooling down? No, Lando's going again. He's just doing a big cool down lap. Oh, he had a big lock-up. So Lando had a big lock-up down into turn 5, and he is now just cooling down the tyres. And Lewis did exactly the same. He followed Lando Norris. And then Lando was just trying to cool down his tyres. So Oscar Piastri, 43.0 from him in that middle sector. I imagine this is going to be maybe some long runs here for the McLaren team. You can see there 31.2 in the first sector, a 43.0 in the second sector. Much, much slower. Only 15th fastest for Piastri. What's going on there? Come on, Piastri, get a move on. DRS open as he heads down the first straight. What are the chances of a Hamilton podium? Always low, personally, right now. The key to a happy life, guys, is low expectations. And I think that's the key to being a happy Ferrari fan. Being a happy Ferrari fan means you have low expectations, and then you get pleasantly surprised, and you're then never shocked when they have a poor performance. But yeah, I have low expectations for Ferrari here this weekend still, and I'll be shocked or pleasantly surprised if they end up on the podium or fighting for those positions. Maybe they have found something at Circuit of the Americas. Maybe I've done them a disservice. I wasn't being drawn into the whole they've found something and unlocked something at Circuit of the Americas. I think it was more of a flash in the pan. But maybe they have. So Lando Norris up to P3, by the way, on the mediums. So purple last sector there. I think that's the first driver we've seen go sub 20 seconds thus far in any session in Sector 3. Difficult sector. It's a difficult sector to do that, to be fair, because your tyres are just burning. They're screaming at you at the end of a lap here when it comes, like temperature-wise, when it comes to Mexico. Oscar Piastri, his lap time was a 1:19.0. Was that a push lap from Oscar as well? That was definitely a push lap from Oscar. I'm reserving judgment still. I'm reserving judgment yet. I'm not going to do too much judgment until we see qualifying, but Australians are watching. It's almost dawn. Happy fan is hanging a shirt ironed and hung up. Leclerc is on the pace of podiums possible. We'll see. We'll see. I mean, are we going to see some proper push laps here? We've seen push laps on mediums, but we haven't seen any on the softs yet from the big boys. So I'll be interested to see if they do have a brand new set to push on when it comes to FP3 here. Alex Albon's definitely on a brand new set, so we'll keep an eye out on him. Expect big things. He's always done well here if you're an Albon fan. Got caught up in a lap 1 incident, didn't he, last time around? when it came to... Oh, who was that? Which McLaren was that? Was that Lando or was that Piastri? One of the McLarens was just sitting... One of the McLarens was just sitting, dawdling in the stadium section. You're predicting 2 to 3 breakdowns tomorrow, given everyone is at the end of their engine life. Yeah, if there's a place where it's going to happen, it's going to be happening here. And the brakes are going to get hot as well. And we could see a few failures. We could see a few safety cars because of that. And because of how unique it is with the last year of this regulation set, as we've already discussed about putting new engines in the car for McLaren or Verstappen over their allocation. Do they even have those engines available? The engines that they may have to put back in the car are already used engines, older parts, because it's all eyes on 2026 now, isn't it, in relation to development? So you're also reserving judgment on Piastri. He's done so well in the first half. I have faith he can pull it off. Well, I mean, I'm reserving judgment right now in this session because we still don't know what his run plan is. He may be doing something that's not even focused about setting a fast lap time right now. He's about looking at consistency and balance. Maybe that's what he's looking for. Maybe he's just trying to find some consistency in his own driving style when he's in his lines around track. No doubt he would have analysed that yesterday in relation to how Norris was driving and the approach to certain corners by him and Verstappen compared to his own. So... yeah, maybe he's just trying to dial that car in at the moment and get it into a comfortable position for him. And then he might stick in a brilliant lap time at the end. So we'll see. Could be a heavy fuel run for 2 for tomorrow. Exactly, Warren. So we don't know. Lawson up there into P4. So that's the thing with practice. It's information that we just don't have to hand. It's all kind of guesswork. Need Oscar's engine to blow. Not that I'm a Lando fan. Lee. You're risking the wrath of the Aussies here, guys, buddy. At high altitude and therefore lower pressure, 20% significantly reduces the flow through the ducts and cooling, brakes, engine intake, heating and failure. Yeah, and that's why you'll see when you have a look at the cars here this weekend, that's why they have massive ductwork, massive vents and louvers on the car to try and aid in the cooling. But of course, the more that you have, the more cooling that you have on the car, the more performance you're sacrificing. So that's the issue that Williams had earlier on in the season, is that they had some brilliant performances. Look at that, by the way. The top 4 separated by... Let's ignore Sainz. Sorry, Sainz fans, but Sainz has done that on a set of softs. Look at Verstappen, Norris and Leclerc there, all on mediums, and they're separated. Their fastest lap time is separated by less than 200ths of a second, or just 200ths of a second. That's super close there between second and fourth. So, but that's something that Williams struggled with earlier in the season. Remember, Albon had like 4 or 5 DNFs, or he had 4 DNFs in 5 races or something. That is because, yeah, they were having cooling issues, and the engine and the parts were just overheating and going pop, and they had to add more cooling to the car, which meant that they lost performance, and that's why they had like a mid-season drop-off. But they've seemed to have righted the ship there, and now they're back to kind of being solid best of the rest, really. Never root against the rival driver, root for your favourite, unless the rival driver is a jerk. Is there a headwind towards turn 1? The top speeds don't go past 340 kilometers an hour. Usually it's 350 plus. Potentially, it is a westerly wind at the moment. That doesn't necessarily. This track map isn't necessarily pointing in the direction of north. If that was the case, then it would be a tailwind down into turn 1. But let's have a look at the speed traps. It could be that no one's just got a significant toe as well. You have to remember that the slipstream. So I have speed trap wise. I've got Lewis Hamilton fastest with 350. Stroll 347, Alonso 347. I mean, that's similar to kind of what we saw yesterday. So I don't know about a headwind, but you ideally would like a headwind when it comes to the race on Sunday, because it would make the slipstream and DRS a little bit more effective in this really obviously thin air that we have here. What are the numbers next to the tyre? So that is the number of laps that they have done on that set of tyre. That is how old the tyre life is. So let's have a look, shall we, at lap times right now. So Verstappen is out there and he's doing... It's interesting. Verstappen is out there at the moment and he's doing So Verstappen's run plan at the moment is to do a push lap on the mediums, cool the car down for 2 laps. They need to do 2 cool down laps. And then he does another push lap. Then he does another 2 cool down laps. That's what he's been doing at the moment. He's been doing 2 push lap, 2 cool down laps, then a push lap. And he's on another push lap now, I believe, by the looks of it. Don't expect him to set any green or purple sectors because he's on 10 lap old mediums. But there's clearly something that they're looking for right now with this sort of run plan, which is interesting. Oscar Piastri seems like he's doing something similar as well, as Norris has gone fastest there. Wow, where's that come from? An 18.015. I missed that, didn't I? So it seems McLaren are also doing something similar here. So McLaren and Red Bull on the mediums doing similar run plans here. On the mediums rather than on the softs. Speed trap is top speed, right? Normally, yeah. The speed trap is normally at the position where they expect to reach the top speed. So it'll be somewhere down the end of the start-finish straight. Just before the braking zone. Do we know the lap time difference between softs and mediums here? We saw yesterday on when they were doing long runs, it was the softs were about a second a lap quicker from what we saw in relation to what Verstappen was doing compared to Norris. That's what we saw. But the softs, of course, are going to heat up a lot quicker around here. So, it's going to be interesting to see who has... If you're going to say which team has the advantage here, I still predicted Max will win here this weekend. But I think if you look at throughout the duration of this season, it should be McLaren because they've been able to manage those tyre temperatures so much better than everyone else throughout the season. And I wonder if that's what we'll see here this weekend. So. As Russell's reporting, he's not getting his medium compound tyre to work at all. He's sliding all over the place. So George Russell, yeah, Mercedes, they had a good day yesterday. 16th and 17th right now. Interesting. When you think about comparing Alpine to Minardi and realise that would be an insult to Minardi. Wow, 1 second with risky safety cars, would we see some starting on softs? I think we could do, Harold. Yes, yeah, we could do. If it's going to be a 2-stop race tomorrow, I think we could see those start on the softs, go to the medium, then go to the softs. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if we see a few start on the softs tomorrow. Get that extra launch, get that extra grip. We know how important lap 1 is here. Really, you're looking at getting an overtake down into turn 1, but there is an opportunity to get an overtake down into turn 4 as well, which we have seen. So I don't know. It's going to be an interesting. It's going to be interesting in relation to who starts on what tyre tomorrow, but the overall strategy probably isn't going to be too interesting because Mexico's kind of like that, but we'll see. I guess they're trying to figure out if after overcooking those tyres, can they still perform after cooling them? Yes. Yeah, probably. They're probably also dialing the car in for peak performance. So this is them kind of doing their performance runs, I guess. Because just, as we said, like the softs, if it is going to be a 2-stop race tomorrow on the softs, that means that the softs could, like, you want to keep an extra set of softs so you don't necessarily go for a push lap in FP3 on a set of softs, which you normally would see them do, but they don't have the luxury of that because it's looking like the hard compound tyre isn't going to be used at all this weekend. So George Russell seems to have unlocked those mediums now. He was complaining on the radio that he doesn't like them. Well, he just did an 18 flat, so just over 100th of a second behind Lando Norris there, so that's much better for him. Equal lap time to Carlos Sainz. What are my expectations on a Stroll driving a newly designed car? Expectations, I don't know. I have no expectations for 2026. Said this before, but there is a possibility, guys. There is a possibility that Nui cooks, Honda cook, and Lance Stroll finds himself in the cockpit of a championship winning car. Just let that reality sink in. I know there's a few of you that just maybe had a heart attack or you spat your water out and fell off your chair, but that is a real possibility. That is a real possibility. Probably protecting the engine from overheating with the second cooldown lap. Yeah, there's a lot of management going on, isn't there? Even in practice, there's a lot going on right now. So yeah, it's not push, 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 push. Also, as well, the soft round here can only really do probably like one proper push lap. It's not going to be able to do multiple push laps. So, but we're halfway through this session. Lando Norris tops the timing screen, so 1:18.0. He's now on long runs. So Lando's in the pits now, isn't he? Sorry, he did do 3 laps where he did 19.3, a 19.5, and a 19.6 on the mediums, and then he came into the pits. Max is out there. Same age of tyre. So these are the laps right now, and we don't know, of course, in relation to engine modes, fuel loads, and everything. But if you look here, you've got Norris and Verstappen, and if you look at when Max started to do some long run lap times or consistent lap times, a few laps after Lando Norris, but his lap times are 1:22s, very consistent around the 1:22 mark, whereas Lando was 1:19.3. 1:19.5, 1:19.6. So that probably indicates that the engine mode may have been turned up a bit more, or the fuel load was lower. So difficult to kind of say who's quicker at the moment in long run pace, I guess, on that perspective. At face value, you would say Lando, but that's the thing. We don't know. We don't know what engine modes they're running and fuel loads and stuff. So Max may be running a much heavier car. He's just done a 22.1. So very consistent from Max. The last 5 laps were basically around the 22. Around the 22 mark. So what would be the ideal tyre strategy here? I don't know. I really don't know, to be honest with you. I don't think it's an overly long pit stop. It depends how much the teams expect the tyres to maybe tyre temperatures to be an issue here, like thermal degradation. And that's really where it matters. If they think that's really going to be an issue, then it'll be the 2-stop, because you're just going to lose so much time out on track when those tyres get too hot and they lose their grip. And then it's difficult, I think, here to try and get them back down into a nice window. And then, I mean, while it is tricky to overtake here, we have seen overtakes here if there is like a tyre offset, especially coming out that last sector. You can just utilise that extra grip out of the last couple of corners and slipstream past down into turn 1 if there is a real difference in tyres, a tyre life. So, yeah. But the one stop, we know so often track clean air is king. So Max just did a 22.49 there now. It's a shame Norris isn't out there doing more long runs, you know. It is a real shame. Oscar Piastri. Let's keep an eye on Oscar Piastri, shall we? Let's have a look at Oscar Piastri. He seems to be doing some long runs right now. He's doing a long run. Let's see. Pit stop lost time is 21 seconds. Okay, so we saw... So if that's the case, that's similar to what we saw at Kota. And they made a 1-stop work. So in an ideal world, they'll probably want to make a 1-stop work. But the 2-stop might be what we see. So, Piastri is doing a long run right now. And his last 4 laps were a 1:20.0, a 1:21, a 1:24, and a 1:21.5. So, I think McLaren are running less fuel right now than... I can't imagine they'd have their engines turned up, but either there's a clear difference right now in either the fuel loads of Max Verstappen in that Red Bull and the McLarens, or the engine mode is different. Can Hamilton win a 8th title next year? He can, but there's many drivers that can win a title next year. We do not know. 2026 is a complete unknown. So, yeah. It is going to be an unpredictable year. That's my only prediction for next year, is that it's going to be an unpredictable year. The cost cap has been increased from 135 million or something up to like 205. That's a significant increase. I think the reason they've done that is because they probably think there's going to be a number of alterations and amendments done to the regulations throughout the season, and the teams need more money more headroom to be able to bring more upgrades to basically alter the car as per the regulations and to try and keep the field competitive. So yeah, it's gonna be an interesting one. Half a second between the top 9 teams. Quali will throw up some surprises. Maybe. I mean, I don't know if Quali will throw up some surprises. I think we'll see maybe a couple of surprises. But I think for the most part, we'll probably see the usual suspects up there. But it's tricky to kind of ascertain who is really quick because none of the top boys. Ferrari, we've still got 20 minutes remaining, of course, so there's still time. But Ferrari, Red Bull, Mercedes and McLaren have not used a brand new set of softs yet for FP3, which they normally do. And Norris is still in the pits. Piastri is now coming to the pit lane. Verstappen has now done. He did a 22.4, 22.3, and then a 22.698. So those mediums are starting to drop off somewhat now. He's 18 laps on them. Have I touched on the timesheet rumours that have been leaked surrounding the private test Ferrari did for the 2026 season? Lewis almost a second ahead of their prodigal son. No, and I don't know. Yeah, I don't pay too much attention to that, to be honest with you. Norris has been topped by George Russell. Don't rule out George. Don't rule out George. He's on the same run plan as what McLaren and Red Bull were doing at the start of this session, by the way. And of course, this track has probably ramped up, so take that as you may. This track is probably quicker right now, so if he's done that push lap now, that may be why he's there. Hey, Ozone, I'm very well, thank you. Hulk for pole. But yeah, I haven't touched on the leaks of times coming out from 2026. And also, as I said, I don't pay too much attention to it because all these simulations that they currently have and that they're driving on at the moment for 2026, the teams, are based on just kind of theoretical data. It's not based on any true world data because they haven't got those cars out on track yet. It is literally that. It is a simulation. They don't have anything taken from the track to be able to input into their sims to make it as realistic. So it's all kind of guesswork at the moment. As until they get to that first test in 2026, or the first, or shall we say the first media days, sighting, where they're able to do a few sighting laps, you know, they're not going to have any idea how those cars perform out on track. I'm confused. Oscar's push laps are much slower, but his long runs seem quick. Yeah, look, his push lap may have been just done at the wrong time. I don't know what he did. I didn't see a replay of his push lap. It may have just been he got caught some dirty air. He was out there, like, he made a mistake or something. I don't know, but he's what I would say still, if you're looking at Oscar's push laps, sorry, if you're looking at Oscar's laps though, if you want some idea of where is Oscar sitting at the moment, well, I would say Oscar is still sitting. He's off the pace of Lando. I think if you look at the laps that Lando did, so if I'll show you guys here quickly, if you look at the laps Lando has done on the medium, and it only did kind of 3 laps in a row, to be honest with you. He did a 1:19.3, a 1:19.5, and a 1:19.6. That's not obviously a lot to take from that, but that's obviously him trying to do some consistent laps there. And Piastri did a 1:24, 1:21, 1:20. See, I think he's off the pace of Lando at the moment. I really do. I think Lando will be sitting in his car, in his garage, looking at the data that he's got the edge on his teammate again here this weekend. Right at this moment in time, but how often have we seen that? I'm not going to say Lando's definitely going to beat Piastri because we've seen so often this season where Norris has had the better of Piastri when it comes to practice sessions, and then Piastri beats him when it matters in qualifying. That could be the same again here. But yeah, I think if you want an idea of where Piastri is sitting right now, just looking at lap times from yesterday and at this moment in time in FP3 from that, I think there's enough there to kind of indicate that he's off the pace of Lando. But we'll see. Too much ugly internal politics refraining drivers from competing in relation to McLaren. I don't know. I mean, it's always going to heat up when you've got 2 drivers fighting for a world championship and obviously their first world championship as well. So, Your mini-exams are here and I can't decide to either watch the GP or study. Well, how about you study and you can always just have this in the background. The race is only for 2 hours. So how about you do this? How about, it's all about time management. It's all about time management, serious. How about you put some time aside to study around the sessions, and then that allows you, and then you have a break, because there's only so much the brain can take. You don't want to overdo it. Study for a few hours, then have a break, watch the F1, then go back to studying, and then tomorrow, same thing with the race. Have, before the race starts, do some studying, and then your break is to watch F1. And then when the F1 finishes, you can go back to studying. I think Red Bull making comebacks in 2022. Ferrari was fastest early in the season, but Red Bull just came and swept them to the sea. Perhaps 2027 Merc gets beaten by Red Bull. Lots of assumptions there. Oh, Albon is the first driver we've seen properly go for a push lap. Okay. Purple in the first, purple in the second. Can he make it purple in the last? I suspect he probably will. We know we're still a good 2 seconds nearly off of pole position's lap time of last year. Is Albon going to go sub 117? Ah, Albon! You're such a tease. You're such a tease. He pitted at the end of the lap. The quality is around 1:30 AM and the race is 2 AM. Oh, no, Albon isn't a tease. He massively locked up into the stadium section. So that was a big mistake from Albon. Oh, I thought he was teasing us. He actually massively locked up into turn 13. So, the race is around, the quality is around 1:30 AM and the race is 2 AM. So I'm in a bit of a dilemma. Ooh, what? And you've got, what, 2 AM Monday morning for you? What? And you've got exams Monday. Oof. Well, yeah, I mean, that is a bit of a pickle, to be honest with you. I would say prioritise your exams. There's always going to be more F1. Prioritise your exams, and you can always wake up in the morning and watch the race. Or watch the race after you've done your exams. Avoid the results. So, there will always be more F1, man. Did Albon pit and Insta out? No, Albon actually locked up big time into turn 13. And he nearly went into the wall, which I've never seen someone do before at turn 13. So yeah, he actually made an error. So he was going to set a decent lap time for us. So we do have some drivers out. We do have brand new softs being put on right now, guys. We are seeing some actual push laps. So interesting. Lance Stroll is on a new set. Piastri is on a new set. Lawson is on a brand new set of softs. Tsunoda's on a brand new set of softs. Russell is as well. Let's see. Lando Norris is not on a brand new set of softs. Lando is back out there on the used medium. So interesting. Piastri is like, I want to get into some different approaches to this practice session. Does that indicate a difference in confidence right now? Is Lando happy with his overall single lap pace, but he doesn't want to use an extra set of softs and make sure he has those brand new softs available when it comes to qualifying or the race tomorrow? Is Piastri wanting to dial this car in under a single lap pace because he's not confident yet? Or maybe it's just want to get my eye in right now. We will see. Interesting. We're going to have a sandwich in the race on straight up to T1 as always during the start. That was one of my predictions. Is that I think we'll see a turn 1 lap 1 incident. So Hadjar's gone very quick in the middle sector, by the way. Right, let's keep an eye on Piastri, shall we? Let's keep an eye out on Piastri. What can he do? He makes his way down the long start-finish straight. DRS open, as you can see there. He's currently 14th. Nothing really to be made. Don't read too much into that at the moment, as Isaac Hadjar has just gone quickest with a 17.396. So let's see. Oscar Piastri actually topped the timing screens in FP3 last year with a 16.4. So can he beat that? And we know these cars are much quicker. Down into the braking zone of turn 4, where we saw Lando Norris send it round the outside of Max Verstappen last year, and of course be technically ahead at the apex, which Max was not too happy about, and he ended up launching his Red Bull car. Red Bull car in the way of Max when it came into turn 7. So purple first sector for Piastri. That's good. That'll give him some confidence. Sonoda was quickest in the middle, but she's been taken away by Lawson. That's intriguing, isn't it? Let's see how Lawson fares. Can Sonoda actually beat Liam Lawson or one of the RBs when it comes to qualifying? So Sonoda up into P2. Not bad, but behind Isaac Hadjar. Oscar Piastri, only green in the middle sector. So 29.9. That's a 10th off Liam Lawson in the middle sector there. But does that benefit him and ensure that he has the grip in the last sector? It does, because it's a 1:17.315. But that is less than a 10th quicker than Isaac Hadjar. That's intriguing. George Russell P3 there. So Isaac Hadjar, what a lap time from Isaac. Lando Norris is just focusing on long runs right now. A 19.7 last time around from Lando. Oh, that's interesting. Let's see what his lap time is when he comes around the corner. Charles is on a brand new set, as is Hamilton. Verstappen, is he going to come out on a brand new set, or is he just going to be... Verstappen's on a set of brand new softs right now as well. Interesting. So Lando not going for a push lap on a set of brand new softs, unless he comes into the pits now, and he is into the pits now. So maybe he's thinking about doing that as well. We'll see. So, Leclerc, fastest, a 20, not even a purple sector there. That's a bit under the radar. No purple sectors from Leclerc, but he goes quickest. 9 thousandths of a second faster than Oscar Piastri. So, Max, we'll keep an eye on Maxi boy. Lewis Hamilton is on an out lap as well. Antonelli's on a push lap as he comes around the last corner. Green in the first, green in the second. He's a couple of attempts off for Charles. Oh, what a last sector from Antonelli. Oh, my goodness. He's made up in a tremendous amount of time on Leclerc in that last sector. Brilliant lap time from Kimi. Very close, isn't it, looking at the moment? So let's keep an eye on Max as he makes his way down into turn 4. And it's a 27.5. So, oof, that's 2 tenths off of Oscar Piastri and Charles Leclerc in that first sector. So has he made a lock? He's had a little lock-up somewhere, Max? Maybe. Maybe Max has had a little lock-up in that first sector. But that's the same first sector time that Antonelli had. And yet he went quicker than everyone else. So maybe that's a conscious decision by Max just not to lean on those tyres so much in the first sector to ensure that he has the grip necessary in that last sector for the stadium section. You don't want those tyres to overheat too much. Maybe that's what Max is doing there, taking it a bit easier in the first sector because those chicanes and those tight corners do really heat those rear tyres up. And you can see a 29.7 in the middle sector. That's a 10th quicker than anyone else. So difference in approach for Max Verstappen. And he goes, oh, only 4th. Only 4th. Wow. Wow, so that last sector there just lost a bit of time. 4th. Look how close that is, though. Imagine that grid tomorrow. And Lando hasn't even set a time yet. Lewis there with a purple middle sector. Is this going to be a lot closer, guys? Is this going to be a lot closer than I gave suspected, or anyone suspected it was heading into this weekend? Lewis round the last corner. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. Is anyone running their engine? Is anyone running their engine really high at the moment? Wow, Lando has just gone fastest out of anyone in that. That is a very quick first sector by Lando. That's nearly a 10th quicker than his teammate in the first sector. But has he taken too much out of those tyres? Track evolution is key. Yes, track evolution is definitely key. I will say that. But it's still interesting nonetheless. It's still very interesting nonetheless. So, Norris here. It's the first time we've seen him push. Wow. This is going to be quick from Lando. As long as he keeps it together in the last sector. Here we go. Round the last corner for Lando. Round turn 17. It's purple in the first, purple in the second. It's purple in the last. And it's a 16.6. 3.5 tenths quicker than Hamilton. 7 tenths quicker than his teammate Oscar Piastri. But as we have mentioned, track evolution is a factor here. So the later you set lap times, the better the track state is and the quicker you can go. But I think Lando is definitely in... Lando's definitely in a good place right now. I think he's got that car in a very nice position. He seems comfortable with it. The lap time suggests that on the medium. And well, that there will definitely be a nice way for him to round off this practice session. So, Good lap from Lando. Yep, good lap from Lando. So Oscar improves in the middle sector. So bearing in mind, guys, you probably won't see too many second laps on the softs beat the lap time that they set on the first push lap. We'll see how Oscar fares, though. Maybe he does. His first sector time is actually only a couple of hundredths slower. So this could be quicker for Oscar. It is quicker, but only by what was that, a tenth, I think it was. So, yeah, I mean, the second push lap on the same set of softs is never going to be as quick as the first, even though the track technically gets quicker because you've used all the goodness of that tyre. So, is Max engine running full right now? I'd be surprised if anyone is running their engine at full speed right now. So, make what you want of these lap times. I suspect it's going to be a lot closer when it comes to qualifying in a few hours' time for sure. But yeah, I can't imagine anyone. We've had the high altitude that we have here. Track temperature is also 47 degrees right now. I can't imagine anyone's running their engines at full tilt. You'd be pretty stupid to do that, to be honest. They'll turn them up, of course, for qualifying and the race on Sunday, but you're just unnecessary. There's no point. It doesn't matter if you top FP3. It doesn't matter. It's all about topping, qualifying, and of course the race on Sunday. So, since thermal deck is so high on this track, will starting grid be a poor reflection of the final standings, especially for those that slide into corners? I don't think so. No, I think the starting grid. I think if you're sliding anyway, there's only so much. I don't think with how that last sector is, I don't think that you're going to be able to get away with sliding. Because the last sector is so tight and you need that rear traction, if you're sliding with the rears, you can't get away with a single lap pace here, I don't think. I think qualifying will be a good indication of the overall kind of race pace and where people may finish when it comes to... I think, yeah, this is probably the qualifying where it will be a true indication of how drivers will maybe finish over a full race distance, because if that car struggles over a single lap, it's going to struggle over a full race distance as well. If it excels, then yeah, they'll be able to do it. So, with all Lando's mechanical issues, he might have burned out his engine doing that. I don't think so. Oscar needs to be within a tenth of Lando at the end of this session, otherwise he's in a bad place and his championship hopes will be getting to him. I don't think he doesn't need to be within a tenth. He doesn't have to be. He'll have to analyse it. As I said, practice is practice, but I do think Lando has the better of Piastri right now. If you're looking at data, so it's another Lando track when it's quicker to really cut the corner and use all the curb and risk damaging the floors. Oscar more conservative. I don't think so. I think from what I've seen from onboards, Warren, I have seen Piastri be very aggressive over those curbs, particularly through turn 2 and turn 3. So I think Piastri is having to really push that car at the moment. Oh, pardon me. Qualifying is at 10 PM UK time, Manny. So that is 2.5 hours from now. Pretty much. 5 minutes remaining of this practice session, though, guys. Welcome, everyone, for tuning in. Nearly 3,000 of you here in this stream. Hope you have been enjoying the chat. Of course, this stream, once it ends, it will send you straight over to qualifying, so there's no need to open that. By the way, Charles is improving. Green in the first, green in the second. He set the fastest lap time earlier on, and he wasn't purple anywhere. Let's see how he fares. Isaac had Giles Efferden blinding on the radio about drivers in the way. Poor last sector there for Charles. So, yeah, 20.8 slow there. No improvement overall, an 18.1. And that just shows he was green in the first. He was green in the second. But that last sector, those tyres just don't last. They don't last. So, but yeah, if you can hit the like button, guys, much appreciated. Get this practice stream to over 1,000 likes. That'd be absolutely top notch. And continue to hit the like button as well. I think we're nearly at 62, 61. I don't know how many subscribers we're at, to be honest with you. I can't see what that is. But yeah, hit the subscribe button as well, guys. How long after this does quali start, Jordan? 2.5 hours. So 10 PM UK time. I'll be live 15 minutes beforehand. So, yeah, once this stream... The live stream is already set up, so you can go bookmark that. You can hit the notification button as well. Hit the bell button so that you get notified on your device of 30 minutes before I'm due to go live. As Max goes up into P6 there on the same set of softs. He improved in that last sector, which is interesting. So is that genuine... Maybe I think Max has definitely got that engine turned down. Yeah, they're losing... I imagine they're probably losing quite a bit of top speed down the start-finish straight. Let's have a look at the top speed, shall we? And the speed traps. So we can see here... Yeah, look, I will bring this up for you. Max has definitely got that engine turned down. So if we look here, speed trap, Max is 18th fastest. So he has definitely got that engine turned down. Down sector 1, he's 19th fastest. Considerably slower than that of Hamilton and Leclerc in the Ferraris. So yeah, they've got that engine turned down. They're being very conservative. Do not fear Verstappen fans. He will turn it on when it comes to qualifying. So just under 62k, are we? Just under 62k? Oh, lovely. Thank you very much, guys. The C5s are only good for one run. Quali is going to be tricky today. It will be catchy. Yeah, and with this track, we've seen mistakes before. I still think there's a big moment to be had here in qualifying. I think quali may be a long one later. I think we're going to see a big crash in Sector 2. Who it will be, I don't know, but yeah, we've seen it before. Norris also has a low top speed. Yeah, he does, Ryan. Yeah, and that's always been very indicative of the McLaren and how they set up their car. But I think looking at that, Verstappen, we know, let's be real, I don't think Verstappen, as Verstappen, right on cue, says, yeah, no grip front and rear. So is he really struggling with that car? Is it just the engine that's been turned down, or is there genuine struggles with that Red Bull? It's so difficult. It's so difficult to kind of actually pinpoint right now where everyone's sitting. You know, because we've seen the recent performance of the Red Bull. We know the form Max is in. Yeah. Pole for who crashes in quali. We'll do that in the quali stream. Why is pit taking so long? New to F1. Because so it's not actually a pit stop. This is a practice session. So it just means that they're back in the pit box. It means that they're maybe making setup changes. We've got 1 minute remaining now. The session is arguably over. And yeah, drivers will be back in the pit lane. They'll come back out now, though, onto the grid because they will get to do a practice start at the end of the session. So that's what they'll do. Hey, Joanne. Oh, welcome. New member of my page. Thank you. And thank you, everyone who is new. As I said before, I know there's many of you that don't chat. We get a significant amount of viewership here, which is absolutely brilliant. And I know there's only a small portion of you that chat, which is amazing. But those of you who just sit there and enjoy these streams regardless, yeah, big thank you as always. And as a token of your appreciation, just hit that thumbs up button because it does actually matter on YouTube. It's all about engagement. It helps grow this great community that we've got here. So, yeah, thank you, guys. Who do I think will win the championship? Oh, as I said, I don't know. I really don't know. I'm not willing to pin a town on any donkey at the moment. McLaren's pit stops do take long. They have got an issue with their pit stops at the moment. Yeah, every second pit stop has been slower. So you want to be that first McLaren because you get priority and the quicker pit stop. There we go, guys. Checkered flag. Checkered flag. Drivers will make their way round and finish their current laps, and then they will make their way round to the starting grid, and they will do some practice starts there. But very, very interesting session, I think. Very interesting session. Yeah, 3,000 nearly for a practice live stream is always good. So Norris fastest, and I think looking at all the information that we have to hand, just purely on lap times, because we don't know fuel loads, we don't know engine modes, I think Norris is the man to beat right now. That's what I'm looking at. That's what I am determining. Lewis Hamilton P2 there. The Ferraris, I think, are in a much better position than I gave them credit for at the start of this week. But as I said, if you're a Ferrari fan, a key to being a happy Ferrari fan is low expectations. have low expectations, and you'll be pleasantly surprised, which I think we may be here this weekend. George Russell P3, he was complaining about his medium tyre, but he seemed to get that car in check a bit towards the end of the session. Leclerc P4, half a second off of Norris. Piastri P5, as I said, only looking at lap times, I think he's off the pace of his teammate Norris. And I think it's a similar gap to what we saw at Circuit the Americas, around a good 3 tenths off of Norris. That's all I'm looking at. He could turn it around in qualifying, as we've seen him so often do. But in practice, and with an extra practice session as well, by the way, guys. He was in FP1 and Norris had to give up his car to Pato O'Ward for a rookie session. That is, that's intriguing. Verstappen complaining about lack of grip overall, front and rear. I do think there's a conservative engine mode being used in that Red Bull, considering the top speeds that we saw. So definite improvements to be had there from Max and Verstappen. But I do think, just looking purely on lap times again, I do think he's just off the pace of that of Norris right now. Antonelli looks pretty decent. He's one, I think, to maybe keep a little eye out on. He may mix it up here this weekend in P7. Hadjar in P8, he looks best of the rest. Tsunoda in P9, Bortoletto 10th, Lawson 11th, Ocon 12th, Stroll 13th, Hulkenberg 14th, Sainz 15th, Albon 16th, Behrman 17th, Gasly 18th, Colapinto 19th, and Alonso had very limited running in this session. So I think Alonso had an issue somewhere, and that's why he hasn't been able to set a decent lap time. Not F1 related, but what was my peak live viewership? My most peak live viewership was just over 27,000, which was Monza, I think it was. I think it was Monza. We got just over 27,000. So, yeah, very, very fortunate. And it's just a great indication of obviously what the last 5 races, I think, we've peaked at over 20,000 viewers. And that kind of seems to be a bit of a norm now, so that's absolutely tremendous. If you told me that at the start of the year, I wouldn't have believed you. So, yeah, big thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Max typically has engine turned down FP3, then unleashes it in quali. Mind games from them as usual. Oscar, unusual. Yeah. Ferrari flash flooding in for Monza, I guess. Yeah, sometimes. Before that, Monaco was my highest peak. 25.5, I think it was. Considering Monaco is arguably the most boring race of the year. People were just intrigued by Monaco. And, of course, YouTube as well. YouTube pushes certain things, but, yeah. Can I pretend we are about to have a race start? No, not right now. No. I need to save my vocal cords. They're still not 100% after obviously being ill. I did kind of have a coughing fit earlier and gave myself quite a bad headache, but I'm all good now. But yeah, I'm still having to look after the vocal cords somewhat. So yeah. He was in the Monaco stream, Eddie. Yeah. Long time ago now. What was Monaco? Was that round 6? Round 7? That was a long time ago. Round 20 right now. So 100k for the championship race would be amazing. That's a very, very tall order. Very, very tall order. But yeah, we are on course to double our subscriber count from the start of the year, which was a kind of out there target for me, considering where we started at. So yeah, the growth has been brilliant. I can't ask for more than that. Consistent growth has been, yeah, especially when I don't do this full time. To some of you who are unaware, this is not my full-time job. This is a passion right now and something that I do on the side of my full-time job. But yeah, hopefully one day it will be with the growth that we see. I think Lindblad is going faster than Yuki, and FP1 is going to have Helmut pushing him for him to come in. So, a bit of information about Arvid Lindblad and why he was quicker than Yuki. They gave him low fuel in the car. So his car was lighter than Yuki's. That was confirmed by Laurent Mekies in interviews afterwards, and that's why he was quicker. And he combined with the fact he did his push lap later in the session than Yuki. So while obviously Arvid Lindblad is very highly rated by Red Bull, they gave him a lighter car because they said that it would feel more comfortable for him than a heavier car. And Yuki was on a completely different run plan. And Yuki did his push lap earlier in the session when the track was slower. So, yeah, don't look at that. That's why you don't look at, really, the lap times when it comes to practice. You need to dig into the detail, into the nuance behind it. Because at face value, yes, Lindblad was quicker than Tsunoda, but there's reasons behind that. And that's what we try and do here. We try and dig into the logic, into the detail, and not just look at things at face value and chuck stuff out on social media, which so many people do. Can you see the sector times? Yeah, you can see the sector times. Yeah, that's a speed trap. Here's the sector leaderboard. So you can see here sector times. This is their fastest sector times throughout the session. Norris quickest all across the board there. Piastri was quick in that first sector. So the McLarens are quick in that first sector. And you know what? That doesn't surprise me. You know why that doesn't surprise me? Is because that first sector is all about turn 1 and turn 3. Turn 1, turn 2 and turn 3. And it is about, of course, the rear traction through there, under braking, launching it. I'm surprised, actually. It surprised me a little bit, actually, because they're cutting the curbs there. But the rear, it's all about, obviously, the temps in those rears and the traction, in particular, out of the last corner. The traction out of the last corner, where they're able to keep those tyres in such a nice window. It just serves them so well. And yeah, it won't surprise me to see the McLaren's quickest in the last sector as well, where those rear tyres will fare much better. Never judge a book by its cover, rather its Lindblad ahead of Yuki or Ferrari 1-2 in practice. Yeah, exactly. When was my first time I missed Apex? That was when you first started following me. I've been with Missed Apex for a few years now. I can't remember when I first started with them. It was probably before I started doing F1 content. It was probably 3 years ago. And I started with the iRacing podcast that they did, because I first did iRacing content. And then as it's developed, so I've gone into the F1 scene. And yeah, I haven't been on the podcast for a while, actually. He did invite me on for the for the US podcast last week. But it was too late in the evening. They didn't start till 11 p.m. UK time. And I had to be up for work the next day. So yeah, I am due on there. I haven't been on for a while. Do I think anyone in F2 currently could get a seat in F1 next year? Lindblad possibly done, possibly with RB as well. But no, the seats are all wrapped up. The only seats that aren't confirmed yet is the 2 RB seats and the second Red Bull seat. So overall, no, not right now, because everyone's all locked in. 2024 was a wild race last year. Yeah, I'm sure we've got plenty of wild races still left still plenty of wild races left in this season. How many subs did I have back then? When do you mean back then? What, when I first started Missed Apex? When I first started doing the F1 content, I had... When did I start? How many subs did I have? I think I had less than 10,000 subs. If I remember. When I did Monaco, I can't remember how many subs I had in Monaco. A lot less than I have now, that's for sure. But anyway, guys, I need to go have some dinner. I need to recuperate, so I highly suggest you guys go and do the same. So have a lovely rest of, I say lovely rest of your evening. Have a lovely couple of hours, and we'll be back in a few hours' time for qualifying. Not long to go, and it's definitely one you want to tune in for, because it's going to be... We know every qualifying is super close and really important and exciting, and this one is going to be exactly the same. I can feel it. You remember when I had the sub goal at 24k? We've more than double that now. Yeah, it's growing brilliantly, so I can't... I can't complain, guys. I can't complain at all. So, yeah, thank you as always. Thank you for the likes and subscribers. And this is going to send you straight over to the quality stream, where I will run a poll of who you think is going to get on pole, a poll for pole. It's going to be a tricky one, because I feel like there's a few people I could choose. So I'll see how I set it up. But, yeah, we'll see you in a few hours' time. So hit the like button and, yeah, leave the stream open and turn those notifications on so you get notified when that stream is going to go live. We'll see you in a few hours. Bye.